when I was, me and Justice for Glam were talking on a regular basis off the
Mhm.
app. I mean, we would talk for hours off the app on a daily basis. And she was having these really long conversations with Chris Proudfoot to the point that she was basically falling for the man. And she's a paralegal, and she was doing a lot of, work, whether it be in her mind or in her heart or legally being paid, I don't know. But she was working the case as far as emotionally goes. You know what I mean? Like her emotions were invested in this case. And she
Mhm.
was, falling in love with this guy, Chris, to what she told me. And she was feeling a certain type of way about him. And so she was defending him for every turn. You know what I mean? So she would like come to me and she'd be like, well, one of the things that she said to me, it seemed to me that the Proudfoots, that Katie and Chris, the narrative that they were trying to put out was that Seth was abusing Sebastian, right? That was the narrative that it appeared was being put out in the public by Christopher, when he would say things like, if the public really knew, or, different things. And with
Yeah.
the report with Katie and the DV report coming out and this, that, and the other, they were alluding to this idea. Well, Justice had basically said something to me to the effect of, she said basically that if the Proudfoots had hidden Sebastian, but had done so and could prove that they were doing it to protect him from Seth because he was a child predator, and if they could prove that he was and that they were doing it to protect Sebastian, then if they do get caught, it would only be like a slap on the wrist. And ever since she proposed that idea to me, I was pretty convinced that that was what happened, because the way that she proposed it to me, it made me feel like that was what they had done. Like they had basically whisked him off, and that their story was that they were going to say that they were doing it to protect Sebastian from his father, and that as long as they can prove that in a court of law, it's nothing
Right.
but a slap on the wrist. It's a misdemeanor. They won't get in very much trouble. And this was just what she was saying. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a paralegal. I don't know shit about shit. That's why I was just, from what she said and with her knowledge, her inside knowledge, her connection to Christopher, the fact that they were
Mhm.
talking for hours every night, and then she was coming and sharing the stuff with me. Ever since she had said that, it made me think that that was what they were doing. They were basically trying to hide him from Seth because they believe, now whether or not Seth is guilty or not, it doesn't matter if they believe that, or even if they believe they could make a case of that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Who knows? But that's where my mind's going, is that they took him
Really? So
and
your
whisked
mind
him
is still
off.
there?
Yeah, I can't get off of
Mm.
it. Ever since she said that, I'm like, damn, is that what they've done?
So I don't know the ins and outs, but I go like with my gut, and just from viewing, I, I just have a bad feeling. I just have a bad feeling, and I hate to say that I think that Sebastian is no longer with us anymore. But this is just my feeling, chat and salty. And I
Well,
hope that's not the case. I really do. But I
yeah,
just have a nasty gut feeling.
I feel like that's just not a conclusion I can come to in my heart. Like, I'm just not ready to come to that. So I'm going
Yeah.
to come up with any other theory that keeps him alive that I can. And this theory keeps him alive and safe. And that's
Yeah.
where I would like to picture him. So I really can't picture him in any other way right now. So I'm
Yeah.
going to keep, coming up with conclusions that keep the boy alive until we have proof. Because in my mind, he's not gone. Because I think if he was, they would have found something. They would have found something by now.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they would have found his remains or something if he was just in a lake somewhere or in a woods somewhere. If he had just
Now,
wandered off or drowned or something like that, I think they would have found him by now.
before we disconnect, can we ask the chat what they think?